Were she alive, we might imagine her as an Auden-like figure for fiercely talented, passionate undergraduates of today. We're lucky that we have her work and the fullness of record about it. I'd like to thank the participants of the symposium for sharing your perceptions and wisdom about Sylvia Plath, and to say how much I look forward to this evening's panel.
For all the vividness of experiencing these documents in the archives, it's another experience altogether to have you in person in this room. I'm thrilled for the opportunity of all of us to participate in this conversation. Sylvia Plath and Marcia Brown met in September of 1950 as first years assigned to Haven House, and their differences, as Marcia describes them, their habits, their temperaments, their talents, would have made it seem unlikely that they would be lifelong friends.
Every night, Sylvia got into her aqua blue bathrobe. Then she put Noxema on her face, thick Noxema, which I think has one of the worst odors I almost moved out after about the first 3 days just because she smelled so awful.
Here are a few of her letters to me, and I was very lucky to be the one to receive the happiest ones of all, I think. Oh, Ellie, there is this boy, tall, raven-haired, scarlet-cheeked, husky, Jewish, strong as the giants in the earth, and the gods made me born 5 years too soon.
Philip McCurdy was Sylvia Plath's childhood friend, her Wellesley, Massachusetts neighbor, tennis partner, and for a brief time, boyfriend.
At the top of this stationery, because I really want to give you this, there's a to and a from and a subject and the date. So on the first page, this is to Phil from Syl, life in general. As to our rather unique evening, and
Al Fisher has already been mentioned in the letter that Eleanor read. She wrote to him saying that she was having a writer's block and asking him to send her Pink Smith College memorandum paper. And most of you know that almost all the aerial poems are written on that paper, and he'd done that.
I think because she's become such an icon, a lot of times people read her poetry and her prose and make assumptions about her personality. And I was wondering, since you had firsthand associations with her, if you could describe just how she carried herself and how she spoke.
Sylvia was very worried about the scar left on her face after her suicide attempt under the porch of her house. She told me in great detail about waking up, having vomited up the sleeping pills she took, and finding herself still alive, smashing her face into the side of the wall.
I thought she was a bit gangly, actually, and a little, well, not clumsy, but little awkward, physically awkward, yeah. Probably because of her size. And she was also enormously enthusiastic about all sorts of things. So she'd hear some peppy music, right? Yep. And really get into it.
She was disappointed in the infirmary and the English system of health. Smith Infirmary was infinitely better. They gave her sleeping pills and codeine.
I mean, if you ask me what poet did she really like, what did you spend a lot of time on, it would be T.S. Eliot, and next E.E. Cummings.
What I'm wondering about is Plath's voice. She's such an extraordinarily distinctive reader of her poetry.
What's really striking to me is that it's not just that the way she reads Daddy, the recordings she made for the BBC and so on, are so dramatic, but that really other people weren't reading like that at that time. Maybe one or two, but that was something. It was like she was possessed by these yeah, by this style and by these characters in her own poetry.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you for bringing the Sylvia in her multiplicity to us tonight. And what I also want to say, there's more. We have the archives, and Karen Kukil will show you the letters, will let you touch them.